breaking news, ladies. Well, not breaking right now, but roughly around 14 to 15 minutes ago, around my time. I think we all know, well, not all of us know, some of us asleep, like how we should be, but I don't get no sleep. Demar Derozan was officially traded. It was a three-team signing trade. Chris Duarte and Harrison Barnes from the Sacramento Kings will be going over to San Antonio. The Kings will be sending a protected 2031 first-round pick, and the Bulls will be receiving the other first-round pick in cash back from this trade. And DeMar DeRozan, when it's all said and done, will be signing a 3-year, $74 million deal to take his talents back to the West Coast and arguably, many would say, will be on the best team he's been on in a while. Put it like this, he'll be on the best chance to compete for a legitimate title. I mean, he hasn't been on a chance to compete for a legitimate title since his days from Toronto, where every year, he was getting absolutely dismantled by LeBron James and the Cavaliers. But that's neither here or there. He has a chance now to win. And DeMar DeRozan, for those, six-time NBA All-Star, two-time All-NBA second team, a really good player. One of those players, once again, does not have an NBA Finals appearance, and let alone has a ring. And I think playing alongside what this means for the Kings and what this means for Chicago and why Chicago had to blow it up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I get into this, before anybody tries to, convolute or, misconstrue what I say, I just want to make this all clear. I think DeMar DeRozan's an all-world talent. No doubt about it. I still think DeMar DeRozan's game is averaging like fine wine. I still think DeMar DeRozan is a top, is still one of the best mid-range scorers, period, in this game. One of the best scorers, period, in this game. Yes, his defense has deteriorated as he's gotten older. DeMar DeRozan is set to be 35 come August 7th this year. Make no mistake about that. But when you look at his 3 seasons, of work since being in Chicago in the Windy City. I mean, 2021 to 2022 season, his first year, put up his best numbers yet. That was the year the Chicago Bulls were the number one team in the whole East. And I thought it had everybody thinking for 1 second to the postseason arrived that they were going to go to the NBA Finals. But then we once again learned DeMar DeRozan is good, but not good enough where if he's the 1A option on your team, you're going to the NBA Finals, and improve that 2021-22 season. But to make no mistake about that season, though, DeMar DeRozan still plays in 76 games, averaged 27.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and dished out about 4.9 assists, 5 assists if you just round to the nearest 10th. His 2022-2023 season, played with 74 games, averaged 24.5 points per game, brought down 4.6 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists. In his last season, this year, he had played 79 games, career high, to average 24 points per game, 4.3 assists, and dished out 5.3 rebounds. So when you look at all that, DeMar DeRozan, this is still a player who can give you 24, 25 a night. And you bring that in, how he's going to fit in. And when we look at the Sacramento Kings, they're not coming off their best year. They're not coming off their yes year. Much respect to Mike Brown, comes from that Greg Pop tree, and we know he's going to get this team right. And they really were they were facing the derail of injuries a lot through this season. The Kings, I will give that to them, because when you're 46-36, that's really more of a testimony of how competitive and how good the West really is, more than so an indictment of how the Kings did not do subpar play. Because 46-36, that's over 500. But you got the Lakers. They came in 47-35. Teams were really it was really a neck and neck race all year. It was really a neck and neck between all the teams in the West. I mean, the teams that were up there besides OKC, obviously, they weren't too much far up there from the teams that were the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th seed, and so forth. They really weren't. That's how tight the West was this year. And the Kings making this move, assuming, no, this is not on paper at least, this does not skyrocket them, make the Kings the official favorite to come out the West, but it does have to be a needle mover, because you definitely have to say he's better than Harrison Barnes, because that's going to be the spot. You take out Harrison Barnes and you plug in DeMar DeRozan. I think at 35-year-old DeMar DeRozan, who's arguing against that? I mean, Harrison Barnes was definitely serviceable in the work and what he did throughout his tenure there in Sacramento, but it wasn't no DeMar DeRozan. It wasn't no DeMar DeRozan. And from the Chicago Bulls standpoint, I think they're in a little bit of they're in a triangle right now. They're in an absolute mess right now. They're realizing that they're gonna have to be paying Zach LaVine a lot of money, and that Zach LaVine won't be able to opt out until 2027 of his huge contract, and which we all know, like how any fool wouldn't do. We all know he's not. We all expect him at least to completely opt into that contract when the time does soon pose itself. But that's neither here or there. But the Chicago Bulls realize now DeMar DeRozan is no longer a fit for this team. Think about it. You traded, no offense, You traded Alex Caruso to the OKC Thunder, and Alex Caruso, I mean, is a win now player, is a win now piece, the real deal 3-and-D guy. You have that. You trade him to Chicago. You trade him, a guy like that to OKC for a guy like Josh Giddey. Keep in mind, Josh Giddey, good player, but he's more. And this is not an indictment on him, but he's really the same player as Demar Derozan. They play the same position. Both the same size as Josh Giddey, 6'8", 216. You know, can play make. You know, attack the basket, get it off his mid-range shot, and then not only that, most importantly, what about Matej Bazulis? Matej Bazulis, the 11th pick in the first round, Chicago took, who has tremendous upside, who also plays that point forward position, the same position as DeMar DeRozan. So when you're DeMar DeRozan, a veteran like that, looking like, dang, are they trying to get rid of him? Not stupid. Again, he was born at night, not last night. And if he was, he stayed up all day because nobody that's stupid. They brought in you brought in somebody who plays the same position as me, who does virtually the same thing that I do. And then you drafted somebody who has the ceiling to be like me, if not better, in Matej Bazulis. So when you look at all that going around, and this team's going to break down. You can expect Lonzo Ball to get up out of there. You could expect Vucevic to go ahead and test free agency. And all that stuff. This team is strictly going to be built around Zach LaVine and how far and what they can do with him. They're going to build as much of a powerhouse as they can of a team to build around LaVine, so that way they can raise his bid up, raise his market up. So hopefully they can go ahead and trade him, so they don't have to pay him all this money. You know, that's the end goal of it. But as far as for the Kings, I think this is a good fit. It was only a couple teams, you know, DeMar DeRozan was only going to go to. You know, Golden State was out the door. We know that wasn't no fit. He just simply does not fit into what Steve Kerr likes to do. The Los Angeles Lakers, they don't even know what they're doing right now. Truth to be told, they were supposed to get DeMar DeRozan, honestly, I think 2 years ago. That never happened. They ended up settling for Russell Westbrook. No, Lord knows, wonder why. And the Los Angeles Clippers, which is a team I had thinking with the loss of Paul George, could DeMar DeRozan be kind of like a little bit low budgeter, more of an off-brand PG, somebody who can come and get in and fill in for that PG void? Didn't end up happening. He's going to be taking this. And honestly, I think this is good for DeMar DeRozan too, because you look at DeMar DeRozan, he grew up in Compton, has that Compton story. Went to USC, was a first-round pick, pick number 9 in the 2009 draft. And DeMar DeRozan, like I said, has had a great career. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you ask me, even though we all know he was one of those ones that was, in my opinion, snubbed in the NBA's top 75 anniversary, make no mistake about it. DeMar DeRozan, in my case right now, it definitely has to be one of those guys I can say going to the Hall of Fame without a ring to show for it or not. A great player, stand-up dude, has really been an exceptional leader his time in Chicago. I will say, regardless, you know, it wasn't the ideal spot for him as far as winning and what he wanted to ultimately accomplish at this point of his career. But when you look at what he's doing with his teammates and what his peers have said about him throughout his tenure with Chicago, they all said he was a great leader. He showed up with the same work ethic every day. You know, he always had that winning mindset, that mentality. And trust me, you're going to need to bring that over to Sacramento too, because this is a team that's serious about winning. This is a team that, keep in mind, y'all, did we forget? In 2022-2023 season, the Sacramento Kings were the 3rd seed in the West. They went 48-34. They were eliminated in the first round by the Golden State Warriors. But hold on, but in 7. But it took a Steph Curry 50-point game in a Game 7, a pivotal Game 7, for them to sneak past Sacramento. And guess what? A year later, in the play-in tournament, first round, they got their get back. Until, of course, the Sacramento Kings ultimately fell in the second round of the play-in tournament, which they had to get in to ultimately face the OKC Thunder, which would have put them as the 8th seed in this year's playoffs. They were eliminated by the New Orleans Pelicans, 105-98. But keep in mind, the two stars combined for dang near 60 points. Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. They had 58 points combined. De'Aaron Fox went off for 35 points. Sabonis went off for 23, 7 rebounds, and I believe had 7 assists and 12 rebounds. And Fox had along with 4 assists and 5 rebounds to go along with that game as well. They didn't have no much of a bench. Malik Monk was injured. Harrison Barnes didn't show up. Davion Mitchell didn't show up. None of you guys really set it up. But when you look at this Kings roster, outside of your two big guns, you plug in a DeMar DeRozan piece. Okay, you got Kevin Huerter, who I believe is a really good three-point shooter, catch and shoot shooter. You got a guy, Malik Monk, who just gave you 15.4 points per game. Also, who got re-signed too, I believe, a 3-year, $30 million contract. So he's gonna be motivated to come back and put in that work. Okay, so you got that going on. You got Keegan Murray. What did they say about Keegan Murray? A dude's gonna be a superstar in this league one day. Just the athletic prowess. Dude that can shoot the ball, a spot up shooter, athletic, can get his own shot, can get to the rim, off the catch. Really good player, and there's room for development. And of course, you have Mike Brown coaching that team. There's no reason why the Kings should not be scared. Matter of fact, the Kings had me so scared. The Kings were actually one of the teams. Well, actually, the Kings were the reason why I said the Lakers need to go ahead and beat the Pelicans in the play-in game. They were, because I knew the Kings were getting ready to mop Golden State. Golden State didn't have enough firepower to keep up with them this year. Steph Curry wouldn't have been enough this year. He wouldn't have been enough this year. The Kings are a good team. I believe they can, same thing like I said about the New York Knicks over there up east. If you just stay healthy and let the camaraderie really build, who knows how far you can go. The Knicks don't know how far they could have went. They could have just stayed healthy. If we're being honest about it, they don't know how far they could have went. So I love everything that I'm hearing right now going on. I think fantasy really is starting to spike up again. We all know Bronny James. Don't want to nitpick or anything about this. I'm going to get this out the way. I'm not going to make this a conversation or let alone make a video about it. I believe we went 2 for 7 from shooting. Had a layup and a little mid-range shot. Had 4 points in 22 minutes of play in his first summer league debut. Had a steal. That was good to see. And right now, what I want to see right now is just, honestly, it doesn't matter if Bronny James had a good game or not. It doesn't matter if Bronny had a good game or not. Or, this is all development. It doesn't matter if you put up 30 points. You're not going to carry that over to the NBA. You're not. I love how aggressive Bronny James was, though. I will say that. I do love how aggressive the kid was. He was just missing a lot, but he was getting to his spots. And I'm going to tell you right now, a player that's getting to his spot, and you can just tell the way he was shooting, like I always say in basketball, we cannot control the ball going in, but for anybody that's played some form of basketball, that's hooped competitively before in their lifetime, regardless of how far you went with it, one thing you do know, when you miss, is you always got to look at how you miss. Real shooters know that's called the shooter's touch, with certain ways how you miss, where you can tell if you were a shooter or not. The way Bronny James was shooting, a lot of his shots, just came up just a little too strong, like right off the gridiron, and that's a sign of nervousness and jitters. As he should be nervous, because he shouldn't be here in the first place, if we're being honest about it. But he should be nervous. 19 years old, playing on a platform like that. I heard him speak after the game saying, it was definitely a different kind of atmosphere, compared to AAU and the EYBL circuit and the high school circuit and all that kind of stuff. It's a different level of crowd. It's a different level of altitude you're dealing with over there with those fan base. He didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think a lot of people were gonna show up either to the California Classic, but they did, rightfully so. Showed Bronny some love, and like I said, showed a lot of room for improvement. But I think he left a lot. And like I said, you can't always look at the stat sheet and look for the good. Sometimes you got to cut on the tape, and that's why I want to see Bronny James play earlier this evening today. And I love his shot selection. I love the shot selection. I love how comfortably he was getting there, because the work he's putting in. Sooner than later, one day, those shots with them 8 shots he missed are soon gonna be makes. Best believe that are soon gonna be makes. Because it's all about getting in the rhythm. It's all about finding your spot. And the fact that he knows where he's comfortable from, wasn't a lot of threes. He only attempted 2 threes. Wasn't a lot of threes that he took today. A lot of his stuff was being really coming in aggressive. The drive was cut off. He was looking really to drive a lot, but when the drive was cut off, he settled for the mid-range shot and got pretty good looks at it. Really good looks at it. Just wasn't able to knock down the shot. In today's game, that's the name of the game sometimes. So it's gonna be about how he responds. In each game, I want to see what he's learning, what he's taking in, and all that good stuff. I want to see, how is he growing as a pro, because that's what all this is about right now. We're just in the development stage for Bronny James right now to see what kind of player he soon will be. And I'm going to wrap this video up. When I come back, I will be talking about Klay Thompson, what this means for the the reigning champions of the Western Conference and Dallas Mavericks. I will be saying that, how he can fit alongside Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. I will be saying that. But as far as for the Sacramento Kings, man, kudos to them. They definitely with this move definitely helps them keep an arm spread league. Definitely keeps them in the mix of the top teams in the West. And as far as for the Chicago Bulls, as we all seen it coming, a rebuild is in store again. And they weren't able to make it done with the Demar Derozan era. And that's going to conclude another video. Thank y'all for listening to Shooting for the Stars podcast with your one and only host, Cameron Williams. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what y'all want to hear for the next video.